Hello and welcome to my channel, Lifestyle and Fashion Tea. Today we're going to get into the first black supermodel. Yes, before there was Beverly or Iman, we had Peggy Ann Freeman, aka Danielle Luna, the first black supermodel to appear on the cover of Vogue as well as Harper's Bazaar. Let's get into it. Peggy was born in Detroit, Michigan, to working-class parents, Nathaniel Freeman and Peggy Freeman, in 1945. She was one of three daughters. Her father was of African heritage and her mother of African American and German. She attended the Detroit High School of Commerce, where she studied data processing, and she also attended Cass Technical High School, where she studied journalism, performing arts, languages, and was in the school choir. Outside of school, she participated in the local community theater. It was during this time, at the age of 18, she began calling herself Danielle Luna. This was her way of dealing with a turbulent home life. Yes, her parents had been married and divorced on 4 separate occasions. At this time, she wanted to be an actress. Luna's sisters always teased Luna. They always said she was weird, always act as if she was a little off, or seemed as if she lived in some type of fairy tale or in some type of wonderland. But in 1963, Luna met English photographer David McCabe, and from then on, it was history. Even though she didn't contact him until 1964, he had sent her photographs to various agencies. McCabe introduced her to Harper's Bazaar editor Nancy White, fashion photographer, senior photographers. He practically introduced her to everyone. This is an interview that she did in Sydney, Australia. Let me know what you think about the interview in the comments below.
Luna. She's over 6 feet tall and she has the longest legs in the model business. And she commands $400 an hour for fashion photographs. Danielle Luna has come to Sydney for 2 weeks of fashion parades and displays. Danielle, welcome. Be seated. First, the name, Danielle Luna. Is this a real name?
Yes, it is. It's part of my name. My complete name is Peggy Anna Danielle Zazia Luna Freeman, but I just cut it short and used.
Here we can see she seems a little bit free.
What sort of
She gives a little
racial mixture
Erykah
do all those names
Badu.
come from?
You name it, and it's there. Everything. It's like a melting pot of, say, different nationalities, different people, everything.
You have the most spectacular blue eyes. Where do they come from?
I had to stop it again because I wanted to let you know that her father really disliked her calling herself anything other than African American, and her blue eyes, of course, were not real. They were contacts.
About 2 years ago. This April will make 3 years. It's very funny. It's like a Cinderella story, you know. I was going to school in Detroit, Michigan. I was studying acting, and at that particular time, I was very rebellious. I couldn't stand, you know, people who wore suits or, you know, the typical, say, beatnik black girl. And one day, a photographer by the name of David McCabe came to Detroit, and he saw me and he thought I was so fantastic, and he says, "You must be a model," and I says, "No, I'm not." And he said, "Well, here's my aunt came. My aunt, she thought that I was a fantastic actress and that if ever my talent would be proven, it could only be in New York." And so my mother says, "All right, you can go with her." I went to New York, and I was like a child. All these big buildings and cheap people, and you know, I was all in black, and I gave him his ticket back, and I told him that I was sorry. And he started laughing and saying that, oh, people don't do that anymore. That went out with bootlegging and all of that. And he called it Harper's Bazaar. And then I went to Harper's Bazaar that afternoon. I saw the director. She liked me very much. She told me I was very beautiful and this and that. And she had every director there bring in everything they could find: coats, hats, bathing suits. And I tried them all on. There was only one thing that I didn't like, and that was the bathing suit. Because like all my life I was told that, oh, you know, you're ugly and, you know, you're so tall and so skinny. And a beautiful girl is like, you know, like that, you know, and she's about 5'6" or something like that. And I'm nothing at all like that.
Doniele, I've said that you're over 6 feet tall. How tall are you?
Well, with heels on, just about 6 feet, 6'1", and my barefoot I'm about, say, 5'10", 5'11".
Some women would say that this isn't very practical, a model of 6 feet. I mean, who are you modeling for? Who could wear the clothes apart from you?
Very few people, but there are a lot of things that I wear, say for the magazines, that most people can't wear. Well, say the newest things out now, like Paco Rabanne and such and such and such. A lot of people can't wear those. You have to be either, you know, sort of...
By this time, Luna had moved out of her aunt's apartment, and she made enough money to move into her own apartment on Broadway in New York City. And as she said, she was working for Paco Rabanne, and she witnessed American journalists spitting in the face of Rabanne because his fashion show only used black models. In January 1965, Luna's likeness was first sketched into an illustration for the January 1965 cover of Harper's Bazaar magazine, replacing a pre-planned cover, the first black person to appear on the cover in its 98 years of publication. Luna had several jobs in between, but the more popular she became, the more controlling and possessive her fashion/photographer/manager became. Luna's career began to slow down when she met with the color bar of print publishing. Advertisers have reported complaints against inclusion of her images on Harper's Bazaar, pulling their advertising revenue, and readers canceling subscriptions. What was happening was people were seeing that this black woman could actually have a career in front of her, because at that time she was earning $1,000 per day, which is equal to over $7,728 today in 2025. Due to the prejudices of a white-dominated industry and the behavior used toward her in work and everyday life, she moved to Europe, where she found an audience more accepting of her skin color. As her population grew as a model, so did her social circle. In London, she involved herself in the Youth Quake, a movement controlled by the younger generation, heavily stirring up the fashion, music, and pop culture in the mid-1960s. In 1968, she performed as a fire eater's assistant in the Rolling Stone Rock and Roll Circus. She was rumored to be romantically tied to Brian Jones, Mick Jagger, Mia Farrow, and Michael Caine were among her famous other celebrity friends. For the next 5 years, Luna divided her time between Europe and North America. During the filming of a movie in 1971, she professed that she wished to quit modeling and focus on acting, and speaks of magic love, living in a deliciously surreal world. She became heavily influenced by surrealism and the New Age. However, she continued to accept modeling work in the 1970s, and by 1972, she moved to Rome. She was working for a Danish photographer, Gunnar Larsen, modeling for a couturier, Ted Lapidus alongside Verushka and Jean Shrimpton on the streets of Paris. In the year 1976, it was not long before she fell in love and married Luigi Kazanaga, a promising photographer, and they birthed their first and only daughter, Dream. From then on, Luna and her love traveled the world, indulging in the liberty of creation and producing striking visual narratives that served as a defiant statement against the restrictive norms of the time. Through the lens of her photographer and husband, Kazanaga, they did pictures for Playboy, also various characters, a mystical mermaid, or a promiscuous panther in the darkness of the night. During the early morning hours of May 17, 1979, Danielle Luna passed away from a H overdose in a clinic in Rome at the age of 33. Luna was survived by her husband, Luigi, and her 18-month-old daughter, Dream. So now we know that Miss Danielle has opened the door for many of the black models. But the industry hasn't changed much. We still have such a long, long way to go. Danielle, may you rest in peace, and we will continue to honor and represent you as you did us. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and any donations made to the Cash App on the screen will be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Love you guys. And again, thank you for watching.